I went to Osmanlı Lezzet for lunch. I had heard about it so many times, and this time I decided to go and see it for myself. Turkish cuisine has become one of my favorites lately. But Turkey is not only about food. It's history and geography. It shares the same dishes with Syria and the Levant. So it's fascinating to try the same meals, but with a Turkish twist. As soon as I arrived, I felt the excitement. The restaurant stood tall, white, and elegant. It looked like something from an Ottoman street, with arches and windows decorated with plants. The entrance was covered with greenery, and the golden frames gave it a touch of Turkish charm. The street outside was quiet. Cars were parked in front, and I could already feel this place was special. It felt like I was about to step into a Turkish series, not just for the food, but for the whole experience.
Hi guys, this is Yazan. Today I will take you with me to Osmanlı Lezzet, one of the Turkish restaurants in Dammam city. I will be ordering several dishes from their menu and I will be sharing my honest review. No filters, no fluff. From starters to dessert, we'll be diving into the full experience. So join me today for lunch and let's discover if this place is really worth the hype. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's give it a try, guys.
I stepped inside Osmanlı Lezzet and felt like I was in a Turkish neighborhood. The design looked like a real street with street lights standing tall and glowing warmly. Shops were built into the walls, like a bakery, each one full of detail. The tables were spread out at different angles, not just in the middle, which made the space feel lively. There were chandeliers, curtains, and private rooms that gave a sense of elegance and comfort. Some private areas had curtains for privacy, and others had larger tables for families or groups. The walls were decorated with flowers, lights, and balconies that looked like Turkish series scenes. Upstairs I saw more seating with a view of the whole floor. There was also a small elevator, which made it easier for families with strollers or wheelchairs. It was more than a restaurant. It felt like walking into a Turkish street filled with life and tradition. The menu at Osmanlı Lezzet was not just large, it was beautifully detailed. Every dish had its calories written clearly, which made it easier for customers to choose. The ingredients were listed for each plate, including notes on garlic, onion, honey, and even gluten. This made the menu helpful for customers with allergies or health needs. There was also a full section for kids, with meals like mini pizza, chicken burger, meat burger, and fried chicken. Each kid's meal came with fries and a drink, and the calories were written beside them. It was clear that the restaurant thought about families and how to make their experience easier. The appetizers section caught my eye, especially the mixed appetizers platter. It had 6 bowls with Levantine and Turkish favorites like hummus, baba ganoush, mutabbal, and patlıcan ezmesi. The description explained each dip, which was rare to see in such detail. The drinks list was another highlight, with a wide choice of fresh juices and luxury mojitos. Each mojito had a unique mix, like dragon fruit, lavender, lychee, kiwi, and even coconut. The menu felt complete, giving options for every age and taste. It was one of the clearest and most organized menus I had seen in a Turkish restaurant. They surprised me with a bowl of lentil soup. It was not on my order, but it came as a kind gesture from the restaurant. The soup looked golden and smooth, shining under the light. Beside it, there was a small plate of lemon slices and crispy fried bread. The smell was gentle, with a mix of warm spices and earthy lentils. It felt simple, yet comforting from the first look. I squeezed a little lemon, and the aroma grew brighter and fresher. The first sip was creamy, light, and carried a soft balance of flavor. It was not heavy, but it gave a feeling of warmth in every spoon. The fried bread added a crunch that made each bite more exciting. It reminded me of home cooking, but with a more polished touch. The portion was not big, yet it was perfect as a start. With only 100 calories, it was light and easy to enjoy. It showed how much care they put into welcoming their customers. This small dish made me feel appreciated before the main plates even arrived. This was the mixed appetizers. The plate came with 6 small bowls, each filled with rich colors. Some were topped with walnuts, others with pomegranate seeds and fresh herbs. The bread came warm from the oven, round and golden, with steam rising as I tore the first piece. The smell was fresh, with hints of roasted sesame and smoky eggplant. I began with the hummus. It was creamy and smooth, topped with olive oil and a touch of paprika. The flavor was nutty, balanced, and comforting. Then I tried the baba ganoush. It was smoky, with roasted eggplant, lemon, and tahini. Mint and pomegranate seeds gave it freshness in every bite. Next came the red mutabbal. It was earthy, rich with walnuts, and finished with olive oil. The Adana mutabbal was made with a sweet yellow squash. It had a smooth and creamy taste, lifted by garlic, sesame, and a touch of lemon. Then I tasted the batlijan ezmese. It was chunky, with eggplant, tomato, and a sharp kick of garlic. Finally, I tried the eggplant mutabbal. It was lighter and creamy, with a soft balance of tahini and lemon. Each dip had its own story, 6 flavors that carried both Levantine and Turkish traditions to the table. The whole dish had 180 calories. It was light and perfect for sharing. This was the Börek cheese. It came to the table golden and bubbling, with the smell of fresh dough and melted cheese filling the air. The service was shiny, with cheese stretching across every corner. The bread was baked flat but rose around the edges, giving it a rustic look. Each slice was already cut into squares, and the top was glazed with butter. When I pulled the first piece with my hands, the cheese stretched high and long. I took my first bite while the cheese was still warm. The taste was rich and creamy, with layers of cheese blending together. The dough was light, with a soft center and crunchy edges. Every bite carried both a buttery crispiness and a chewy base. The melted cheese coated my mouth slowly, leaving a smooth and salty taste. As I ate more, I noticed how the flavors expanded. Some parts were softer, full of melted cheese, while others had golden crunchy corners. It felt heavy but satisfying. It was a dish meant to be shared across the table. The bowl of cheese from each slice made it exciting. It was stretching more than I expected. The dish had 914 calories, and it was clear why it was rich and filling. This plate was simple but unforgettable. It was both a comfort food and a showcase of how cheese and bread can shine together. This was the hot baba ganoush. The plate came in a long oval dish, with the colors of red tomato, green parsley, and golden brown meat shining on top. The sauce underneath was thick and rustic, filled with roasted eggplant, tomato, and spices. The steam rose as I leaned closer, and the smell was smoky with a touch of garlic. Fresh parsley leaves sat on top, giving a bright green finish against the rich colors. The meat cubes were grilled, juicy, and placed right in the center, almost like a crown. I tore a piece of bread and dipped it in. The first bite was full of flavor, the eggplant soft and smoky, blending with the tomato base. It offered a deep savory flavor, tender inside and gently charred outside. It felt warm, hearty, and full of comfort. Every bite was a mix of textures, smooth vegetables with chewy pieces of meat. The parsley brought freshness, and the lemon slice on the side gave an extra lift. It was a dish made for bread, each scoop holding a balance of sauce and meat. The hot baba ganoush had 310 calories, making it a filling but not heavy choice. It felt like a true Levantine comfort dish, rustic and full of tradition. This was the meat jar pottery. The waiter carried it to the table while the fire burned bright under the clay. The jar stood tall, sealed and hot, with flames dancing around it. The rice was brought first, white and fluffy with golden vermicelli on top. Steam rose from it, and the smell of butter mixed with roasted grains filled the air. The jar kept cooking on fire, building a little suspense before it opened. Then the waiter removed it from the flame. He leaned it carefully, and the sauce poured out slowly into the bowl. It was a rich red sauce, thick and shiny, full of steam and aroma. Chunks of meat fell out with the sauce, tender and shining. There were also pieces of eggplant and potatoes, cooked soft and rich with flavor. The sound of the stew hitting the bowl made the moment feel even warmer. I spooned the rice onto my plate. Each grain was light, and the roasted vermicelli gave it a nutty taste. The rice was simple, but it balanced the heavy sauce perfectly. I dipped into the stew with the rice. The meat was soft and juicy, covered in the tomato base. The vegetables carried the flavor of the sauce and added sweetness. The stew was warming, the rice was light, and together they felt complete. It was the kind of dish made for sharing, slow and traditional. The whole plate had 846 calories, but it was full of comfort and culture. This was the Mushakkal Osmanli. A wide wooden tray arrived, carrying 4 skewers of meat and chicken. Each skewer had its own look, with colors of orange, golden brown, and smoky grill marks. On the side were onions with sumac, pickled beets, fresh greens, and warm bread in a basket. 2 small dips sat at the edge, 1 garlic mayonnaise and 1 ketchup. The tray looked full, made for sharing and enjoying slowly. The first skewer was shish tawuk. It was orange from its spices, tender and juicy, with lemon and paprika lifting the flavor. Next was the chicken kebab. It was softer in texture, with parsley and mild spices giving it a balanced taste. The third skewer was the Adana Kebab. It was long and rich, filled with herbs and chili, giving each bite warmth and spice. The last skewer was the meat pieces. They were lamb cubes, smoky from the grill, juicy inside, and bold in flavor. I began with the shish tawuk. It was moist, well seasoned, and carried a bright citrus note. The chicken kebab followed, with a smooth taste that felt lighter. The Adana kebab was strong, full of spice and parsley, leaving a warm kick at the end. The lamb cubes were the deepest in flavor, rich and filling, with soft charred edges. Every bite told its own story, but together they made a full Ottoman feast. The onions gave freshness, the pickled beets added a sharp crunch, and the bread wrapped everything neatly. Dipping the meats into garlic mayonnaise or ketchup made it complete. This whole platter had around 786 calories, which made it satisfying but still light enough to enjoy without feeling heavy. This was the luxury lavender mojito. The glass stood tall with soft purple shades fading into clear ice. On top, a slice of lime rested beside a sprig of lavender. The crushed ice made the colors shine brighter. At 190 calories, it was light and calming. The first sip was smooth and cool on the tongue. The lavender gave a gentle floral taste that felt soothing. The lime added brightness, lifting the flavor with a citrus touch. Each sip felt fresh and balanced, never heavy. It was elegant, colorful, and relaxing at the same time. A drink that looked delicate but carried a strong charm. This was the luxury dragon mojito. The glass looked bright with a glowing red color. On top, slices of fresh dragon fruit rested like jewels. The white flesh with black seeds gave it a striking contrast. The ice sparkled through the drink, making it look alive. At 190 calories, it was light and refreshing. The first sip was cool and fruity, with a gentle sweetness. The dragon fruit flavor felt tropical and clean on the tongue. Each sip carried a crisp, refreshing lift. It was playful, vibrant, and full of summer energy. A drink that felt both exotic and simple at the same time. This was the Blue Beach juice. The glass stood tall, glowing with a deep ocean blue. On top was a crown of whipped cream with fresh blueberries. Green leaves peeked from the side, giving it a tropical look. The color felt bright and playful, like waves under the sun. At 360 calories, it was rich but still refreshing. The first sip was creamy, with coconut mixing smoothly with blueberry. The milk softened the sweetness, making every taste round and gentle. The whipped cream added a silky finish. Each sip felt cooling, like sea breeze on a warm day. It was joyful, sparkling, and perfect for peaceful moments. This was mango and strawberry juice. The glass came tall with two clear layers. The bottom was golden mango that looked smooth and thick. The top was bright red strawberry that looked fresh and light. A slice of strawberry sat on the rim, which made it more beautiful. I took my first sip and the mango was creamy and sweet. The strawberry followed with a sharper taste. Together they mixed slowly in the glass and balanced each other well. It felt refreshing, and it also felt natural. This drink had only 87 calories. It was light and healthy but still full of flavor. It was a sweet and simple finish to the meal. This is Katmir dessert. I went to the second floor to eat the dessert. The waiter brought out the Katmir dessert. It was still warm from the oven. It was baked in a square tray, cut into golden pieces, and sprinkled with pistachio. The top was dusted with powdered sugar, giving it a sweet, delicate finish. Each piece looked thin and crisp on the outside but soft inside. I picked up the first bite with my fork. The crust gave a gentle crunch, and the inside was creamy and warm. The pistachios added a nutty texture that made every bite more rich. It tasted buttery, slightly sweet, and balanced with the roasted nuts. The flavor was light compared to heavy desserts, but it still felt filling. It was a dish made for sharing, but easy to enjoy alone. The Katmir had 680 calories, a number that reminded me it was a treat. Still, it felt worth it for the taste and the way it ended the meal. This dessert carried the style of Turkish baking, simple yet elegant, and the moment felt complete as I prepared for what came next. This was Osmanlı Lezzet coffee, served in a traditional copper pot that rested above a small flame. The tray was golden and carried with it Turkish delight covered in powdered sugar. The scent of freshly ground beans rose slowly. It was deep and strong. The foam on top was dark and smooth, showing it was brewed with care. It was served in a small cup with a lid, which made the moment feel ceremonial. The sip was rich, slightly bitter, and full of history. It carried the earthy taste of roasted beans mixed with the warm spice of cardamom. Each sip left a deep flavor that spoke of tradition. The Turkish delight balanced it with the sweetness. It was soft and chewy. Together, they created a harmony that felt comforting. This cup of coffee had only 20 calories, and it carried centuries of culture. The price of mixed appetizer is 49 Saudi Riyal. The price of Börek cheese is 39 Saudi Riyal. The price of hot baba ganoush is 42 Saudi Riyal. The price of meat jar pottery is 79 Saudi Riyal. The price of mushakkal Osmanli is 70 Saudi Riyal. The price of Katmir is 64 Saudi Riyal. The price of luxury lavender is 28 Saudi Riyal. The price of luxury dragon is 28 Saudi Riyal. The price of a blue peach is 24 Saudi Riyal. The price of mango and strawberry is 26 Saudi Riyal. The price of Osmanlı Lezzet coffee is 24 Saudi Riyal. Total plus the value added tax, which is 15%, is 496 Saudi Riyal. The food was prepared with care and presented beautifully. Each dish had fresh ingredients, balanced seasoning, and the right texture. From the appetizers to the main plates, nothing felt rushed or ordinary. The flavors were authentic and comforting, and the variety gave a full sense of the dining style. Every bite showed quality and tradition, so the food rating is 5 out of 5. The staff were helpful without being overwhelming. They explained the dishes clearly and made sure I felt comfortable throughout the meal. Timing was excellent, with no long waiting, and the food and drinks arrived at the right time. Small details, like bringing complimentary items and keeping the table organized, showed true hospitality. For that reason, the service rating is 5 out of 5. The atmosphere captured the tradition with a warm and inviting touch. The decor, lighting, and seating all worked together to create a comfortable place to enjoy a long meal. The design reflected heritage but still felt modern and clean. It was easy to relax and focus on the food and company. For the balance of culture and comfort, the atmosphere rating is 5 out of 5. Parking was available close to the entrance with enough space for customers. The building also had proper wheelchair access, including an elevator, so movement between floors was possible without issue. This was a rare visit where food, service, and atmosphere all reached their best level. It was an experience worth remembering and repeating.
So this was my experience today at Osmanlı Lezzet. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. And just remember, each bite tells a story. See you in the next one. Bye.